For decades, naval supremacy has been defined by massive conventional force. Aircraft carriers and destroyers that cost billions of dollars to build, require thousands of sailors to operate, and project absolute dominance across the open ocean. That conventional dominance shattered during the 2026 Hormuz crisis. A $10 billion fleet was brought to a complete standstill, paralyzed not by a rival superpower, but by a fleet of small speedboats dropping simple $1,500 explosive spheres into the water. The math of asymmetric warfare is brutally simple. Dropping a mine from the back of a small boat takes minutes and costs pennies compared to a traditional weapon. But finding and neutralizing that exact same mine requires specialized sonar equipment, teams of deep-sea divers, and months of hazardous labor. To achieve this level of total paralysis, Iran blanketed the local waters with an estimated 6,000 of these contact mines. The current arsenal represents 7 distinct generations of engineering, known as the Maham series, which transformed naval denial from a passive tactic into a highly refined discipline. When an adversary realizes they can never match your shipbuilding budget, they stop trying. They weaponize the ocean itself, proving that overwhelming financial backing means nothing if the enemy can break the economic math of the battlefield. The first layer of this network is the classic contact mine. Tethered to a heavy weight on the seafloor, it hovers just below the surface, practically invisible to the naked eye. The outer casing is lined with sensors, and the moment a ship's hull grazes one of them, the payload detonates. The threat gets far more sophisticated as you move down to the seafloor. Type 2 bottom mines require zero physical contact. These heavy cylinders sit perfectly still in the sand, using acoustic and electromagnetic pressure sensors to read the specific physical signature of a vessel passing overhead. When a target is detected, the resulting explosion triggers a devastating 2-phase sequence. First, an intense, rigid shockwave slams into the hull. A fraction of a second later, a massive, expanding gas bubble rises from the depths, literally lifting the vessel out of the water and snapping its spine. Then there is the EM-52 ascending mine, a system that actively hunts. Using thermal sensors to lock onto a ship's heat signature, the canister acts as an underwater silo. Once it identifies a target, it opens up and fires a guided missile straight up through the water column. Bypassing automated sensors entirely is the Maham 7 limpet mine. For this, specialized naval units, frogmen, swim out and physically attach flat explosive devices directly to the exterior of an enemy hull. It is highly dangerous for the divers, but guarantees maximum destructive placement. Dismantling a layered network like this requires ships dragging highly sensitive sonar equipment at slow speeds. It is an excruciating process that can take weeks or months, leaving crews completely exposed to incoming attacks while they work to clear a path. By layering diverse sensors and deployment methods, Iran effectively weaponized the water column, creating a series of overlapping mechanical threats that overwhelmed the specialized sensors of traditional navies. All of this hardware was specifically designed for one stretch of water, the Strait of Hormuz. This is the ultimate geographic bottleneck, serving as the primary exit route for a massive percentage of the world's energy supply. While the map shows a gap 33 kilometers wide, the reality of the water is deceiving. The depth required to safely accommodate commercial supertankers is restricted to just 2 narrow shipping lanes, each only 3 kilometers across, 1 lane in, 1 lane out. The immediate consequence of the 2026 mine deployment was total gridlock. 187 massive vessels were instantly trapped inside these narrow corridors, with absolutely nowhere to turn. The stakes were astronomical. Those stranded tankers held over 175 million barrels of crude oil. By effectively freezing that supply in place, the minefield held the global economy hostage in a matter of hours. Lacking the immediate capacity to clear the area, the United States formally requested 30 specialized naval minesweepers from European allies just to begin the months-long process of making the water safe. European leadership refused. They knew slow-moving sweepers in a narrow strait would be easy targets for drone strikes. Stepping into the conflict also meant risking retaliation from ballistic missiles capable of striking targets 4,000 kilometers away, putting European capitals directly in the crosshairs. True maritime power in the modern era no longer requires a massive fleet capable of challenging superpowers on the open ocean. By perfectly matching cheap explosives with an inescapable geographic choke point, a nation can entirely deny access to the sea and force strategic capitulation without ever firing a shot.